What's up, guys? Well, there are more police shootings, there are more riots, there's more tension, there's a whole lot more mess going on. And unsurprisingly, the answer is pretty much the same as it's always been, that we need a little more Jesus. So kick back, relax, and welcome to the Resistance. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell if you'd like to be a part of what's going on here. Trying to bring some sanity and some light into the world through the light of Jesus Christ. Truth is important in our society. Truth, as many people often say, is a person of Jesus Christ. And if we try to honor him, we try to be like Christ, then we want to be people of truth. We want to be people of grace, mercy, compassion, but also of justice, truth, these things in balance and in order. And that's how we can honor Jesus Christ. And I think sometimes we just get inundated by stuff in the news, and there's not a whole lot of places where we can get it from a biblical, scriptural, how do we digest this? Knowing what we know about Scripture, knowing what we know about being the ecclesia, the church in the earth. And so in a couple of these articles here, or these happenings in the news that you've probably heard of, or maybe not, recently there was a lady in Nashville who was in a gun battle with the police, and she was pulled over. The police officer pulls in behind her. She jumps out of the car. She's acting strange. She's, again, I've been pulled over a few times. I know not to jump out of the car when the cop pulls me over. She jumps out. She's acting strange. Of course, later on we find out why she's acting strange and kind of what's going through her mind. But overall, if you go and you look at the video, this is on the Police Activity is the channel. And body cam captures shootout between woman and Nashville officer in Tennessee from March 13th. That's the video I'm referring to. Is actually body cam footage. You see that the officer's being nice. She's actually pretty amicable up front. I think he did some things that were probably get him at least a slap on the wrist. I mean, he's turning his back on her. He's letting her go back like in and out of the car. These are things that I would think are dangerous for a police officer to allow someone to do. Like, you should have a healthy sense of skepticism, I would think, no matter who you pull over. Because any person could just be an innocent, mom or some guy on his way to work or whatever. Or they could be a lunatic psycho that wants to kill you. I mean, you don't know. And so, again, I think he did make some mistakes, but he was probably just trying to be nice and that kind of thing. But eventually it turned south because he's going through the lady's purse, and there were some drugs and stuff involved, and she kind of goes crazy. She wants to grab her purse and jump in the car and leave, and he's like, no, you can't leave. He pulls out his taser. Taser's not really working. He's trying to pull her out of the car. She pulls a gun and shoots him, and he returns fire, and then he's lucky she didn't run him over after that or continue shooting at him. But she ended up dying, apparently, and tragic situation. Tragic because all people are, again, made in the image of God, and we shouldn't relish in the death of people and the destruction of people. Even though she was in the wrong, she shot first at this cop. And then the other article is these protesters who are in Rochester, New York, and they get together. They're marching in the streets. Apparently, this guy Daniel Prude had an altercation with the police, and the initial evidence looks like there was some PCP involved, and he was. This article says that he had an increased heart rate and respiration, overheating. Stated would explain the subject. He was naked on a night when temperatures were around 32 degrees and mixed snow and precipitation. He was sweating, flushed appearance, excessive strength, and a high tolerance pain as well as incoherent speech. So, hyped up on what appears to be PCP, altercation with police. They had to restrain him. He ended up, it looks like, dying. And they're thinking, based on the initial autopsy reports, that it was asphyxia in the setting of physical restraint due to excited delirium and acute PCP intoxication. So, it's asphyxia, and he's restrained, but there's all these extenuating circumstances with the use of drugs and all this stuff. What do these things have in common? Well, what they have in common is that our society is really in an uproar right now, and their tensions are high. Tensions are very high. And this was a black gentleman, and Black Lives Matter hits the streets. And again, right, they're protesting, but they basically come up on this grocery store, and there's like 100 or so people inside. They're not letting them out. I mean, what do these people have to do with the death of this prude guy? Nothing. They're just taking out their frustration and their anger on random people in a grocery store. That's kind of where we are in our society. The church needs to be in a state of prayer and thoughtful reconciliation. We should never take the side. The church should never just take sides one way or the other across the board. In a situation, somebody's jacked up on PCP and this kind of stuff, I mean, we need to look at the circumstances. Was this, the cops did their job, they were just trying to protect themselves and others, and it's an unfortunate situation, or was there excessive force used? Just because somebody's jacked up on PCP or using drugs, I don't think that means you can just take them out back and, grab some baseball bats and beat the living daylights out of them, right? But at the same time, there are things that they need to do. They're moms and dads and sons, and, they want to go home safe too. So, the church needs to be the voice that is a reasoned response, compassion, sympathy, logic, and truth. All of these coming together. Let's just get the facts and let's understand what's going on here, and let's make a judgment based off of truth. Same thing with this shooting with this lady in Nashville. You can see on the body cam footage, it's pretty clear. It's kind of hard to kind of get out of that one because there's footage for the entire thing. But again, she opens fire on this police officer. What do you expect? Pretty sure if you open fire on a police officer, you're asking that police officer to open fire on you. And again, it has nothing. She happened to be black. The police officer is white. But you can see, it has nothing to do. He's actually very nice to her, more nice than I would think a cop should be to anybody. You should be on high alert as soon as somebody jumps out of the car. As soon as what's going on? Certainly not letting them back in and out of the car. And, just again, I think he was too nice and almost cost him his life, in my opinion. But again, there's these racial tensions, there's the societal and political tension, and the church needs to not draw lines based on race. There's no racism. There's no place for racism in the church. Racism is evil. It's wicked. It's vile. People are made in the image of God, and to look at someone just because they're different than you by way of race or background or culture, ethnicity, age, gender, these are things that the church simply should not tolerate and should not allow on either side. Okay, in any way, right? It's not okay because, it's bad to be sexist, but if you're against the patriarchy, then it's okay. No, it's not. It's bad to be racist, but if you're trying to tear down the evil white supremacist system, then it's okay to be racist. No, it's just racism is just bad, no matter where it is, no matter who it might be hurting, or no matter who it might be helping. Racism is bad. It's evil. It's wrong. And we as the church should be compassionate. We should be sympathetic and understanding to people that legitimately have had things in their lives where they've been hurt by these things, whatever ism it might be. Most of them are actually real. They're just overblown, and there's not nearly as much of it in this society as people try to make out. At least where I live. Maybe I don't know. I don't live in Minneapolis. Okay, I don't live in Portland. So I mean, if Portland is just a hotbed of sexism, xenophobia, racism, and corrupt cops, okay, then we need to address those things. But how do we address them? It would need to be fact-based. What's your evidence that there's corruption in the police force? If there is, we need to take care of that. People need to go to jail. People need to be, taken care of there. But there needs to be evidence. And again, I think what we need to do is always just calm down, take a breath. The church needs to be in prayer and praying for our society. Praying, people are talking about civil war and all this. I mean, that would just be horrible for all sides. We should not want that. Nobody should really want that. But the church should recognize that this is the way our society is kind of leaning, and we need to be praying and seeking the face of God for mercy and grace, and praying that tensions begin to be reconciled, and people come back again in peace and harmony with one another, because that really is what the church needs. What we don't need is people in the streets holding people hostage inside grocery stores. I mean, this kind of stuff is just not, it's completely unhelpful if what we're trying to do is reconciliation. If we're trying to start some kind of civil war, well, this is exactly the kind of stuff that we should be doing. But that's not what we should want. And from a scriptural perspective, when we see stories like this, we should want truth. Let's get to the facts. Let's not make snap judgments. We shouldn't be so pro-cop that there's no such thing as a dishonest police officer. Come on, there's dishonest everything. And we shouldn't be, so anti-cop that it's like, well, of course cops, that's all they do is just kill innocent people. Again, we need to have the kind of mentality that says, let's have truth prevail. Let's have mercy, grace, and justice prevail. In order for that to happen, we have to have facts. We have to know what really happened. Let's wait till the facts come in. And when they do, whatever side truth and justice fall on, let's be on that side as the church. In a more general sense, national scale, we need to be praying. We need to be reaching a hand out to our neighbors. We need to be community. We need to be in fellowship with one another. This is one reason why the whole COVID-19 lockdowns and everything, it's pulling people apart. It's keeping people separate. It's keeping people distant. And it's easier to get tribal and all this kind of stuff. The church meeting together, being in prayer with one another, serving one another, loving the community, being out and helping with these things. This is what the church is supposed to be doing. Yes, we're supposed to be in prayer. We should be praying against the demonic forces that are trying to cause the kind of uproar and stirring and tensions to bring about this kind of violence and war and this kind of stuff. But at the same time, the church should also be doing something. First, we should be modeling what it should look like, right? Neither Jew or Gentile, bond or free, male, female, right? These distinctions, we should be level at the cross. We should be able to go to services and not have segregation based on socioeconomic status or race or whatever. We should be able to come together, worship together as one body, because that's what we are. Our Lord and King, our tribe is that of the church. And we don't then have antipathy for the people outside of the church. We love all people. Galatians 6:10, right? Do good to all, especially those of the household of faith or the family of God. And so we, again, even being part of the tribe of Christ, we welcome and love others, and we try to be that peace in the earth, that love, and we should first and foremost be an example. Second, we should be reaching out to people, and if you get into a conversation, if a family member asks you what you think about something, this is the kind of answer we should be giving: a reasoned, balanced response that is glorifying and pleasing to Jesus Christ, something that he would affirm, something he would be proud of. The words "Black Lives Matter," that's like a truism. That's an axiom. Of course, all lives matter, and therefore Black lives do matter. The organization, though, that stirs this kind of stuff up and does a riot and keeps people held hostage in a grocery store, that I don't think Jesus would be very proud of. And so we need to, again, be the church of God that sees where things are wrong, where they're going off the rails, and calls it out. And we need to be the church of God that has the grace and the mercy and the love and the peace, and try to extend that to our communities and be what we're supposed to be. So first we model, and second, we reach out and we help and we stand with Christ for truth. And I think that should do it for this time around. We'll catch you next week with some more happenings and things going on in the world of culture and politics. Until then, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, all that fun stuff. I love you guys. God bless you, and we will catch you on the next video. Hey, what's up, guys? Hope you enjoyed that content from Bread Breakers. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share. Definitely follow us on social media. We're going to throw up a couple of suggestions here on the screen for things that we think you might enjoy. As always, God bless you, and we'll catch you on the next video.